If this reading found you today, I feel like Spirit is speaking to someone standing right on the edge of a new chapter, but internally, there's still a battle happening between fear and trust, because the overall energy here feels like transition. You can feel yourself changing. You can feel your spirit pulling you towards something different. But at the same time, there's still tension around fully letting go of the old version of yourself. And with the High Priestess sitting on the bottom of the deck, I need to say this first. Your intuition already knows the direction your soul is trying to move in. That quiet feeling you keep getting, that inner pull, that knowing you can't logically explain, it's not random. The High Priestess is deep inner wisdom. And honestly, I think many of you have been trying to seek external confirmation for something your intuition already understands. But this reading feels like Spirit saying, you already know more than you think you do. Now, the first card out is the Fool. And this is huge. This is new beginning energy, a leap, a fresh start, a new chapter opening. But what's important about the Fool is that it requires trust before certainty. This card asks, can you move forward without having every answer first? And honestly, I think that's exactly where the internal conflict begins for many of you, because part of you feels excited about what's ahead, but another part feels afraid of the unknown. Afraid of making the wrong choice, afraid of leaving behind what's familiar, afraid of trusting yourself fully. And Spirit keeps showing me someone standing at the edge of change, trying to calculate every possible outcome before taking the first step. But the Fool reminds us that growth rarely begins from complete certainty. It begins from trust. Then we move into the Five of Wands. And this tells me there's internal resistance happening, mental conflict, emotional tension, competing thoughts pulling you in different directions. And honestly, I feel like some of you are arguing with your own intuition right now. Your spirit wants expansion, but fear keeps trying to pull you back toward comfort. And for some of you, yes, this could also involve outside noise, people projecting opinions, conflicting advice, feeling misunderstood. But honestly, this feels more internal than external. This feels like the battle between the version of you that wants to evolve and the version of you that still fears change. Because transformation sounds exciting until you realize it asks you to release old identities too. Then we move into the Nine of Pentacles. And honestly, this feels beautiful. Because this card tells me the version of yourself you are becoming is more grounded, confident, independent, and aligned than you realize. The Nine of Pentacles is self-worth, stability, confidence, personal success, peace created through self-investment. And Spirit keeps showing me that this next chapter is about building a life that genuinely reflects your value, not settling, not shrinking, not constantly chasing validation. This feels like someone learning how to fully stand in their own energy. And honestly, I think some of you are beginning to understand that independence is not isolation, it's self-trust. The Nine of Pentacles says you are capable of creating the life you've been envisioning, but first you have to believe you deserve it. Then we move into Strength. And this card feels deeply emotional because this is not forceful power. This is inner resilience, grace under pressure, emotional maturity, choosing calm over chaos. And honestly, I think Spirit is reminding you how much strength you've already developed through everything you've survived. You may not always give yourself credit for it, but the version of you listening to this now is stronger, wiser, and more self-aware than the version who entered your hardest season. And that matters. Strength also tells me your breakthrough is not going to come through forcing outcomes. It comes through emotional balance, patience, self-control, trusting yourself enough to move forward without panic. And honestly, I think that's one of your biggest lessons right now. Learning how to move from alignment instead of fear. Then we end with the Four of Swords. And this is where Spirit slows everything down, because despite all the change happening internally, your soul still needs rest, reflection, mental stillness, space to hear yourself clearly. And I need to say this very clearly. You do not need to rush your transformation. That message feels huge, because some of you feel pressure to immediately have everything figured out, to know exactly where you're going, exactly what your next move is, exactly how things will unfold. But the Four of Swords says clarity comes through stillness, not pressure. And honestly, I think Spirit is trying to help you understand that rest is part of alignment too. The High Priestess underneath this entire reading confirms that this chapter is deeply intuitive. Your soul is guiding you somewhere important right now, but it's not going to scream over the noise. You have to slow down enough to hear it. The Fool says a new chapter is opening. The Five of Wands says fear and growth are battling internally. The Nine of Pentacles says you are becoming more aligned with your worth. Strength says trust your resilience. The Four of Swords says pause and listen. And the High Priestess reminds you that the answers are already within you. This reading genuinely feels like a transition between uncertainty and self-trust. Like Spirit is preparing you to step into a version of yourself that no longer needs constant external validation before making aligned choices. And honestly, that's powerful, because the strongest intuition is often quiet confidence, not panic, not urgency, not fear, just knowing. So if this reading resonated, take what connected and leave what didn't. But this feels like a message for someone who is much closer to their next chapter than they realize. The path may not be fully visible yet, but your soul already recognizes where it's leading you.